Hey guys, Big D here. Welcome back to another episode of Big D's Custom Garage. Today we are going to be looking at the rear end gears for the first time since they were installed by me and Liam's dad, and resealing the rear end. It wasn't sealed with the right gasket material, so all the gear oil leaked out of it over time from sitting. Liam's not going to be with us today. He is sleeping, so it's just us. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I'm trying to keep these videos at 30 minutes. If they run a little over, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to keep them 20-30 minutes tops. So here we go. Okay, let's get down underneath the rear end of the car here. I've already got all my tools that I'm gonna need sitting down here. We've got our putty knife, we've got our gasket material for the differential. It is specifically formulated for that, for gear oil for the rear end, so it won't leak again. Got my torque wrench. I brought it with me today because these bolts have to be torqued at 17 foot-pounds. So yeah, we don't get to use air tools or electric tools for that matter today because we don't have the right adapters. So I'm going to be having to take all this off by hand. I'm going to try to make it quick. I'm going to break them all loose first, and then hopefully I can just chase them out real quick with my hand. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to put the phone in its mount here. We're going to adjust our camera angle up so you guys can see better. There we go. That looks pretty good right there. Now, once I get the cover off, I'll readjust the camera so you guys can see the gears better. But for right now, that's where it's going to be. So anyway, I've also got it set up to where hopefully I'm not going to be blocking any of the camera shots today. I'm going to try not to anyway. I'm going to get my vape out of my pocket so I'm not crushing it. Okay. So we got, this is a 10 bolt. Now, if you're not familiar with GM rear ends, this is your standard 10 bolt. They do have a 12 bolt, which is stronger. But when it comes to your GM rear ends, your 10 and your 12 bolts are your most popular, sought after. Just like with Ford, their most popular rear end is their 9-inch. So, and how you know it's a 10 bolt is these bolts here. You count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10. So that tells you it's a 10 bolt. And if there's 12, you got a 12 bolt. Now, this is an aftermarket diff cover. These here are girdle bolts. I'll show you their purpose when we get the cover off. Okay, basically it's a strengthening thing for the rear end. Now remember, this rear end was rebuilt by me and Liam's dad, who sadly to say is no longer with us. He passed away a couple years ago. But yeah, so he built this rear end, I want to say early mid 2000s ish. I want to say like 2005, 6 ish. I could be wrong. I'm just kind of taking a guess there. But this rear end has brand new 373 gears in it and a Eaton limited slip posi traction unit in it. And they've never been driven on or anything. They were basically just installed and the car's been sitting. But our dad used the wrong gasket sealer on it, and over time it just broke down. The gear oil in there broke down the gasket material enough that it was able to set here and slowly ooze and drain out. So, you know, it is one of those things. So, anyway, sorry guys, I was having to off my vape. And I'm pretty sure our father did not torque these, and I'm not going to be able to today either because I do not have the right adapter. Uh-oh. And I might not have the right damn socket either, guys. Oh, crap. Well, it was working. Well, give me just a second, guys. I am going to run into the garage and see if Liam has the right socket. See what we can get going now, if we can get going. This video might be short-lived today, guys. I might not have the right tools with me. Oh, we might get lucky. We might have just got lucky. See, I know at my house, in my toolbox, I know what tools I got. And I have all the proper ones. Okay, thank God William had the right damn socket we needed. Like I said, breaking them all loose, and I can tell you right now, they weren't torqued. Okay. Some of these are going to be a little slow coming out because of the gasket sealer that's already on them. It looks like our father decided to put them on the threads too. You don't have to put the damn gasket sealer on the threads, guys. Just on the surface of the gasket, or just on the surface of where the two pieces join together. The only time you need to put gasket sealer on any of your bolts is if you're going into something that it's not closed off on the back side, and it's going into either a water jacket or a oil jacket. So then you have to seal the bolt. But you'll see on when we're putting the motor back together, there's a couple bolts on the front of that motor that go straight through into the water jackets on the block. So you'll see that on those bolts, I'll be putting gasket sealer on the threads, because if you don't, it will leak, and it will leak bad. So keep that in mind. And again, of course, I will be showing you guys that in a future episode down the road. So, yeah. God, this thing is a beast. Got adjustable Hotchkiss suspension on it. The upper control arms up here on both sides are adjustable, so I can adjust my pinion angle. I can also fine tune it at the drag strip that way. If the car's launching and pulling real hard to one side, I can come in and tighten up the one on the opposite side of the car from the way it's pulling, and it will correct it, and it will bring the car back around. So, but hopefully we won't have too much of that of a problem, because after this car goes back together, it's going to an alignment shop, and it's being cross-balanced. Which cross-balancing means they'll take these little weight pads that they hook to a computer, and there'll be a weight pad underneath each one of the tires, and it will take the weight measurement from each corner of the car, and then the suspension people and all that are doing the alignment will also balance the weight out on it, basically. Well, they won't do it, I will, but it will basically show me how much weight I got in each corner, and then I can correct it by moving stuff around and even the weight balance out on the car, which is also a very important thing if you're going to be racing. I mean, if you're just a weekend, you know, out for fun, at the drag strip on test and tune night in your street car that you just like to, you know, play with sometimes on the weekends, cross balancing and stuff like that, you're not really going to be worrying about stuff like that. But in a vehicle like this that's going to be putting out the power that this car is going to be putting out and stuff, it's going to be nasty. You know, to be completely honest with you, I am trying to get as close to or over 1,000 horsepower as I can in this car. That's the first time I'm telling you guys what I am planning on. I want this car to make, at the very least, 1,000 horse. And that's the very least. So, and the turbos that we're going to be running are, dang it, I'd have to look them up again. I want to say they're 73s or 77s. I didn't want to go into the 80s or 90s range yet. I wanted to start out a little on the smaller side for the setup. One, to get faster spool up, but two, to see what she can handle. And if I find out that she needs bigger turbos down the road, then I'll get bigger turbos. But I think they're 73s. I will look them up again. I have them saved on a website, but since I record these videos with my phone, it's not like I can freaking look it up right now as I'm recording and tell you guys exactly what they are. But they are in the 70s range. I do know that for sure. They are a T4 flange. There'll be two of them. We are going to be running a air to water intercooler box up in the front with the storage tank back here in the back of the car under the tonneau cover. That way I can keep the water changed in it, because like when we're at the drag strip and stuff, before each pass I will be putting brand new ice and water in it, because basically what it's doing is it's cooling down that air charge before it goes into the motor. Because believe it or not, guys, the colder the air going in, the bigger and hotter the bang in the cylinder when it ignites the fuel. And something else I haven't told you guys, it will have a scramble button on it. And some of you guys are like, what's a scramble button? A scramble button is a last minute, oh shit, this race is really close, I need to beat this guy, how am I going to do it? Well, we're putting a plate system on the car. It will have somewhere around probably 100 shot of nitrous on it. Nothing real big. It's just for that extra if I need it at the very end of a race. If I'm like bumper to bumper with the guy beside me and the car's just ain't got nothing left, or there's not enough track left, I just hit that frickin' scramble button, instant extra 100 horse, it helps me shoot by that guy just enough to win the race. So there you guys go. I've given you guys some new interesting info on some things. All right, now all of our bolts are out. Now I got to get up under here somehow. Our Father, I will give him this. He put, even though it's not the right kind, he did put plenty of black RTV silicone on here. So I will give him props for that. He was trying to make sure it was going to seal. And it did. Don't get me wrong. It did. It will seal. It's just over time, the wrong sealant will break down under whatever lubricant it or whatever it's trying to keep in. For example, black RTV cannot hold up to 90 weight gear oil. Okay. All right, we got our royal purple gear oil. So we did still have some gear oil in it. It just had been leaking. But we're going to take care of that. We're going to reseal this up real quick. Okay, that's also part of the problem right there. He used the paper gasket. Guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. Please, 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 please. Don't use paper gaskets on rear ends. They have their place on certain parts of the car and the motor, but on the rear end, no. It has no place on the rear end housing. That is also the reason why this rear end was leaking. It had the paper gasket in it. Now, why we have metal shavings in here is very puzzling to me, considering this fucking setup has never been driven on. That tells me right there that our Father did not spray and clean out this rear end. I don't think. If he did, I stand corrected. Right. I'm scraping all the old material off real quick, guys, so we can get a clean surface. So, as you guys can see, this is a brand new diff cover. Been telling you guys that everything is new. Okay, let's set this off over here. I'm going to scrape this gasket off up here. Okay. Okay. All this excess off. I'm going to show you guys, it doesn't take much to seal these up. It don't. It really, really honestly don't, guys. You just need a real thin layer. You don't need to freaking cake it on like this. When you're using the right shit and doing the job right, it will not leak. If it does, you have imperfections in your mating surface. Easiest way to find out if you have that problem is to put a freaking straight edge across it. If it does, then you got to get a sanding, or not a sanding block, well, kind of a sanding block, piece of plywood, piece of 2x4 or something like that works. Put some sandpaper on it, fairly fine grit, nothing real coarse. You want something fine grit, and just sand back and forth like this until you get your surfaces flat again. Intrude back up, and then put it back together. Okay guys, we've got this all scraped off. I'm gonna run and get some brake clean real fast because I want to spray all this out real fast before we put it back together. Okay, how we doing on time here, guys? I can't see the countdown clock. We are at 20 something minutes, but that's all right. We're gonna run a little over, no big deal. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm trying to be fast for you guys, I really am. I should stop running my mouth as much and just work. Okay, so for cleaning this stuff out, guys, if you've never done this before, best way to do it is some brake clean. Brake clean is great degreaser for some things. Don't ever use it on something that has chrome on it because it will discolor the chrome. So I'm just going to come up in here. We're going to spray off that surface like that. Okay. Just going to get up in there. I'm going to spray it out real good. Okay. Good thing is Liam's driveway has a downhill slope, so as I'm spraying this stuff in here, gravity's working in my favor. I just want it cleaned up so you guys can really see what we got here. But yeah, guys, this is a must when you do this, because you will have fine metal shavings in here, just like you will in your oil pan of your motor, and just like you will in the pan of your transmission. They'll always have fine, real fine, almost grayish sludge in the bottom of everything. And that's just wear is what that is. Normal wear. Okay, now let me see if how well you guys can see this. Actually, you got a pretty damn good angle. so I don't need to move the camera. Okay, so let me rotate this, which it should do because it doesn't have a drive shaft in it. Okay, so as you can see, the posi works. If this was still the stock rear end, when I'm turning one tire, the opposite tire would rotate the opposite direction of what I'm turning. But with this setup, they spin the same direction. So I'm getting it kind of where you guys can see better. That's why I rotated it. All right, so here's our limited slip from Eaton. You got springs in here. That's how your rear end will engage at, you know, in certain situations, or let go, vice versa. This is your gear unit here. This is our 373 gears. Of course, like I said, brand new. All this stuff in here is brand spanking new, including the axle shafts that go down through the axle tubes, all brand new. So yeah, so that's your guys' first look at the rear end and what it has going on. I'm going to take this out of its mount, give you guys a little bit better view here. So there's that's your Eaton posi unit, limited slip posi setup, and then your Richmond ring and pinion 373 gears in there. So yeah, she's gonna hook and get going, man. She gonna scoot. She will move. Now, when I was talking to you guys earlier and showed you on the outside, these pins here on both sides, they tighten down from the back side, okay, of the cover. And what they do are, they're girdles to help keep your rear end together. Your rear end caps, just like the motor, you have your main caps on each side that hold your whole carrier setup in the middle. Well, right in the middle of those, on each side, these flat pads press against those in the center. Gives it extra strength. So that's the purpose of those pads there. Just helps give extra strength to a built rear end, trying to hold it together. Another thing I'm going to do, hot rodders trick, drag racing trick, when you're putting out a lot of power, these axle tubes are pressed in, okay? And they are known to rotate on you if you have a lot of power. They do plug weld them. See, there's a plug weld there and another one on that side, but they're known to break. So what most drag racers will do, they'll grind the paint and stuff off there at the seam where they slide together, and they'll weld them all the way around. Weld them solid. That's what I'm gonna do, just to strengthen it up, because like I said, I'm planning on putting some pretty serious power down in this car. So I guess you can see when I get down at the right angle, you can see the pinion gear back there. This is this big gear out here, that's what they call your ring gear, and then your gear back there is your pinion. So, okay, let's stop talking and stop squawking, and let's get this bitch back together. Okay, So I got the camera back where we need it. Okay, we're going to take our paper towel here, guys. We just want to wipe off any of our excess. See, we got excess, which again I'm finding very, very odd, considering this setup has never been driven on, so there should not be nothing in this damn thing. There shouldn't be no black, gritty nothing. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do one thing, guys. I need to spray off this diff cover real quick. Get our spray here. It's all cleaned up. See what I mean by you brake clean? You see how all that stuff's just coming right off and out? Only downfall is these cans ain't cheap and they do tend to go fast. So let's get our paper towel flipped over to a clean side. And we'll wipe off the excess. Now, the good thing about brake clean, it does self-evaporate. But at the same time, it's also extremely flammable. And don't use it in enclosed spaces. Okay? Please. You will have some issues if you do. All right, now we're going to open up our RTV here, the proper RTV. Now, I don't have any gear oil to refill this with right now, but I will have in a couple weeks when I get paid again, and I will also be doing another parts order then. It will be our second parts order. It'll be a small parts order, guys, because this next parts order, it's not going to have a lot of parts in it, and that is because they're very expensive parts, and that's why it's taken 2 months since my first parts order video. I think it's been 2 months, somewhere around in there. But the parts that I got cut that I'm going to be ordering this time, they're on the expensive side, so there's not going to be a really big parts order. So okay, so to open these up, they have a sharp thing on the top of the cap that's recessed. You take the cap off, like so, flip it upside down, stab the thing, turn it a couple times, boom, it's open. Okay, make sure you also got paper towels or a rag to wipe your fingers off when you're done.